Yo guys, Pops here. It's been a little while. Um, there was some, random personal stuff, and I got, I guess, a little frustrated that, these games don't fire as often as I would like. But then I remembered this game is fucking awesome, so I'm back, and I'm bringing you another ranked four-man free-for-all replay commentary. Um, This one's got me, Pops, Jam, Classy, and Hexapus. Jam and Classy I've seen on the ladder. They're, solid players. And then obviously, Hexapus is a really strong player. I think he's ranked 3 on the ladder overall. So we got some, it's going to be a good game. Small disclaimer, my microphone blows, so, sorry. So let's get into the game. We got a Russian colony on Ceres. Prices are pretty interesting in that, reactors are sort of, still not great. Water is starting good. Glass is super cheap. So on Ceres, I like to found Scavenger if and when possible, just because their resources don't deplete over time. I think that's really strong on this map. As a backup, I would probably look for Scientist somewhere. And as you guys will see, I found first up here. I kind of identified this spot as being like quite strong, for scav, that is. I got water nearby, my stuff is connected to my base, ice if I need it, silicon as well.
An expansive HQ has been
So
found.
this is pretty nuts. I actually get to level 2 just by, buying up cheap aluminum, whatever, and just taking the upgrade. So I'm actually level 2 right as JM found second. Now as a second found, I don't love this. And as we'll see, I think Hexapus winds up getting a much better found than him. He goes for the
A
aluminum.
scientific HQ has been founded.
Here's Hexapus's found. I like what he does here a lot. He just goes for water pumps straight off the bat, since that is going to make cash, and steel is almost basically not worth building, especially like if you had to ship it and stuff. So this is a really smart play by him. Whereas, Jam goes for like the traditional quote-unquote, let's get some iron, let's get a bit of steel, but unfortunately this is pretty slow. Expus already on level 2 off the back of that cash he's making here, and then he goes for metal. I think he changes this here shortly. He goes for metal mine, also good cash right away, and then the steel, which he will need. But I like, him going steel on level 2 here rather than like opening with it. He's made a bunch of money off his opening. And then the final player, Classy, found in here, Scientific. I guess he could have gone either way. It makes sense with all this like ice to go Scientist. Doesn't have to ship steel or whatever. So that's decent found. So here we are. We're definitely way ahead. We're ahead like 5k in cash. We've already got a claim. And we could upgrade, but I'm actually got my eye on this next claim even. For our level 2, we went double water up here, which at the time that I took it, I hadn't quite identified, him knocking down the price so hard. I did make some money off the water, like this has been up for a little while, but not as much as I'd hoped to, I guess. And, there's an argument for going ice here rather than these water tiles, especially with nukes in the game, so maybe misplay.
The black market is open for business.
There's my claim. I pick up silicon as well, and I think I go just single black magic reactor here. They are getting, oxygen's good, and then I have also seen like, people are shipping stuff all over the place. All kinds of fuel shipments going out here, so I think reactors will be good. Fuel's gonna get expensive soon. So we're 3, this player's still 1, Hexapus is 2, doesn't have glass just yet, or any of his upgrade resources really. Jam is 2, no glass, but some stuff.
A scientific HQ has been
I guess he's
upgraded.
choosing to build a stockpile of this rather than make the cash off it, which is debatable. But I don't know. So we hit 3, we go reactor to reactor, and then, obviously power gets dicey quick on this map. So rather than going nuke plants, which are take, a lot of carbon, would slow us down, and also, not, I don't want to be susceptible to uranium stuff. We just go solar since, we did get the silicon level 2. These solar panels are basically, like, free for us. And we do have our eye on, what's that patent? Liquid batteries, between the solar and having ice nearby. The problem with this play will become evident soon.
Sold.
So we got an 18K auction for this plot, which I don't really think he has the resources to do much of anything with just yet. And but he did have a debt ceiling, so I think long term that's a reasonable take. He's gone out of the uranium, which he made a bunch of cash on, right, and then into power, which is good. And then out of the water, which he made also a bunch of cash on, into food, which is good. I mean, there's an argument for going reactor or food there, and possibly just seeing that I was already in reactors,
The
so just went
black
food.
market
So.
is open for business.
And then I like this play a lot too. He goes for Hexbus, that is a core sample. And he's going to sample out a bunch more water. So,
Scavenger HQ has been upgraded.
As a third person to found, he's suddenly going to be like a pretty strong spot. Like, yeah, he's shipping steel, but he's going to have, as you can see, all this is water for core samples. So, pretty good. That being said, we hit level 4 off the back of this pretty strong reactor production.
HQ has been upgraded.
And I think we are going to push into food just to sort of fight the cash that he's making here and also just protect our debt a bit. Now the problem is that we have this black market cooldown. We go for Goon, which is the right move. The problem is where we put it. I've sort of, identified that food is going to be okay, although this player has food, and I Goon my food because I don't want to get EMP'd, but I really, really, really need to Goon my power. And this is the other, major mistake. I'm pretty sure this is probably what cost us this game. Is going for a triangle, which, triangle's theoretically what you want to do with stuff, right? You get all that nice adjacency, but it's a lot harder to protect a triangle, and we definitely need to be protecting our power at this point. We should have gone in a line, you Goon the middle tile, and then, these circuit overloads can only hit one or the other, as long as the middle tile is Gooned. So this is a game-losing play right there, as we'll see. There, spoiler alert. Yeah, and I guess, as always, part of the reason that I do these kinds of things is to, learn from my own mistakes, and then, sort of learn from what other players are doing. Like, I really like what he did with his found and how he progressed so far through his levels as far as making cash on base resources and then swapping it when it made sense. And then if JM and Classy ever watch this video, maybe they can learn a thing or two as well. So Classy's also core sampling up some stuff. She went for an iron, or he. I don't know if it's he or she, so I'll just say they. High iron auction. I take it for cheap because iron is actually obviously really good, but I'm not going to ship across the map for any more than 8k or whatever. Now JM obviously wants his iron because he's kind of screwed. This is why I like to go scavenger, because his high iron is now a medium, which means he's losing 0.5 iron per second, and that actually means that these are losing him cash. and you know, this play is really not good. Neither of these buildings are making money. I mean, if you had adjacency, then they might be getting something done for you. But as
The
it
black
stands,
market is open for business.
I guess they're just sort of preventing you from falling into debt. But as we can see, he's really doesn't. He's not in any cash-making resource. Like he has a steel, but it's actually, like I said, is losing him money. So he's in a kind of a tough spot. Whereas we're level 4. Yeah, here comes the first overload. Jam hit me with the overload, circuit overload, and it makes sense, on a lot of levels to do that. Even though scientist is looking a little scary. I mean, he's got the power and patent lab, but it makes sense for him to do that here because like really his the only thing he's got going for him is power. So I went for a power surge on this tile because I didn't want to put it on top of this. I figured it would probably be goon, but like let's find out. And I guess really unlucky with the bounces. It bounced to here rather than here and sort of around. So maybe I should have gone to a different tile. So it is gooned, and I'm just worried about. I really do want liquid batteries for like all the reasons I said before. And luckily enough, we'll see that I am a couple seconds ahead of Class A to liquid batteries. So now I'm at 5. These two players are on 3. I've got a patent lab. I've got a good production base. Like still in A debt somehow. I go for electronics. It's the highest money making thing in the game. I have silicon in place. Like I don't have to worry about it. Hexapus goes for a power surge. Why can't I click on it?
HQ has been upgraded.
You've been targeted by power surge. Oh, he surged over here, I guess sort of speculatively seeing if he could catch the patent lab. We get a free claim. Everyone gets a free claim. And I believe I use mine. No, already. So yeah, I'm going for a optimization. Optimizations are good. I don't know exactly what I do with my free claim. I just go for another electronics. Makes sense. Here come the nukes. So yeah, my low water, I believe it was, is now a trace from Classy. Hexapus, this was a tile he won in the auction. He moved into a heck array, which is cool, and he's about to hack power. So this is where things get a little dicey for us. JM finally got into adjacency, but now he's missed all the money. I basically crashed reactors, and then the two science players being in food, they made all the money, so he's a little late to that market. Optimization center, obviously would like this, but yeah, that's a lot of debt to take on, I guess. We're already at 67. Plastics 48, and then I was also again hit by another power surge from JM onto my electronics, which was making me good money. Now it's not so much. So nice. As you see, we had 35 seconds left on thinking machines. That was my second pen I went for. Offworlds look decent, but Classy beat us thinking machines, and I went for a mutiny onto this. I knew it was gooned, but I want to break through the goon and either force her to buy a new one, or I can then remutiny and prevent this player from getting even more patents, which I kind of want. Even though I know he has a patent lab, it's not working, so I don't really care about his patent lab. I'm trying to get slant, just to fix this water, I guess, and to prevent some of these other players from getting slant. I do get the mutiny off. There's a lot of stuff going on here. I get nuked again. my Classy. You know, just continuing to nuke out my water. We can see they're now super negative on water. Fortunately, we do have quite a good stockpile, so it's sort
The
of like
engineers have advanced our production.
figure it out soon, I guess. Here comes Hexapus's energy short, and this is where stuff really starts to piss me off.
Manipulations to begin shortly.
Hexapus tried to short this, but he got hit to the goon. We lost slant drilling somehow. I think I got re-mutinied. And then I re-mutiny again. Just I really want this point perpetual motion. And at this point, both JM and Hexapus are making power money. And I actually start a buy onto Classy, and you know, I had a bunch of cash, and this player picked up Slant and Thinking Machines. So this buy is sort of like, yeah, they theoretically have enough cash to defend themselves, but it's like I know it's tied up in patents and stuff, and like upgrade resources. Well, not really, but it's just patents. It's all tied up in patents. So either you cancel out your patents and defend yourself, or I get a buy. And that was sort of the thinking behind this.
Our methods continue to improve.
And now, yeah, this play is pretty smart. I mean, Hexapus starts buying into me, and I guess the thinking is like, you know, he doesn't want me to get a player this early on. I would probably be unstoppable with this sub. So rather than like helping me buy out this player, he actually goes after me, and I know he doesn't have enough cash to kill me right away, but he is still making a lot of cash, and he's making power money, so like, yeah, he shortly will have it. So I'm forced to sell out of Glassy and then start defending, which I do.
A scientific HQ has been
The
upgraded.
black market is
So
open
even
for
though power
business.
shorting, I do have liquid batteries. I've got these solar panels, but unfortunately they're still not gooned. You know, I got a second goon, which is pretty pricey. Put on the patent lab. Missed out on perpetual motion thanks to the science research speed bonus. And here, I guess I keep buying into Classy, just sort of similar to what I was thinking. I bought it myself, and like,
A new claim is available.
yeah, we
for
were pretty
option.
close to getting that buy, so I guess it kind of made sense, but maybe I should have been looking at just rushing it on Offworld instead. I don't know. But I guess, you know, part of the thinking too is that I feel pretty confident. You know, between my optimization center running and just being ahead of HQs and having good production and stuff, I could
Congratulations.
probably still pick off this player who has thinking machines. So this is the play that really I think is a gigantic mistake from Jam's part, and it's pretty tilting. So he goes for the circuit overload on my power, you know, and he is making power money, so I understand like his thinking, but here's the problem. You're driving up the price of power when this player is also making power money with you, right? And he has perpetual motion. So rather than like just screwing me and then making, you know, this guy a lot of money, and like you're not even making power money, you still need to pay another 25k of debt off. So I think this play pretty much lost both of us the game. Instead of going after Hexapus's power, which he's obviously shorting, he went after mine, and now we're both kind of screwed. Somebody upgraded. Sorry, I missed it. I guess JM upgraded. It's in food. Food's not good. Going for electronics. Electronics are good. He does have carbon. I believe he had 2 carbon tiles. You know, this is why I said I don't love this found, just because like iron is weird. It's really bad for him. JM's defending himself. I've fully defended myself. But we're in C debt. This overload, I guess, you know, in hindsight, maybe one thing I could do is, like, they're not frozen tiles, they're just overloaded. So I have plenty of silicon. I could easily just, like, rotate stuff into other stuff. You know, move the solar panels somewhere else. So that's probably what I should have done. But I am, you know, looking for an off-world. I have the glass ready. I'm making electronics, and carbon is cheap. So that is, like, sort of my next move here. But we are in CDAT. I get nuked again. This is 1 nuke, 2 nukes, 3 nukes onto my water. So, yeah, you know, in hindsight, maybe I do have liquid batteries. Maybe I should have just
Scientific
gone
HQ has been upgraded.
for ice. I go for circuit overload onto Expus. Obviously, he was making quite a good deal of power money, and we need to shut that down. You know, obviously he's got some goons, so... Yeah. Okay, he rotates... Yeah, so instead of, like, me just sitting there with useless power, he just rotates into uranium, which is going to be really, again, a good moneymaker for
A
him.
scientific HQ has been upgraded.
There's a food shortage. I'm pretty sure it's Hexfish sorting food. Even though he doesn't look like he has any.
The black market is online.
So, strange, I guess. I don't know. JM, like, buys a little bit into Hexbus. I don't get it. And then buys a little bit into me. Which, I don't know.
Optimization
So,
routine
I guess there's
successful.
two sides to this. I mean, you could use your cash to, like, get a couple stock, which you're never going to be able to finish a buy on. Or you could use your cash to get into an off-world. I think that would have been a much stronger play from him. Although he doesn't have these resources, it's still only 50k. I mean, you just sell that, and boom, there's your off-world, and you've got, you know, decent production online. Instead, he just kind of starts threatening me, which means I can't get my off-world up as soon as I would like, because I have to start defending. I buy a little bit into this glass short. I know it's not a natural short, so I'm just trying to stop whoever is shorting it from making the most amount of money. Hexbus goes for an overload onto JM's power, who is no longer making power money. So power is still, it's like consistently
We have a
stayed high
hard-to-come-by land
between
claim available to the highest
overloads
bidder.
and hacks. So now Hexbus is in a fantastic position. He is making power money. He gets his iron nuked, which, I don't know, it's a little late, I guess, at this point. I mean, I don't know. I guess it does force him, yeah, it forces him to take this and just go into steel. But it's still gonna be good. I mean, steel's 200 bucks, so it's kind of a wasted black market. I got another power surge from JM, even though this player is making power money,
Sold.
and in my mind is in a much stronger position than I am. You know, I'm in C debt. I am getting an off-world, so maybe it makes a bit of sense. I don't know. I go for a second optimization while these resources are not that strong, and I'll figure I'll just sort of
The black
upgrade
market
them
is
to
open for business.
be better
The
as I need to.
engineers have advanced our production.
So now Xbox starts buying into JM. You know, he's been sitting on all this cash, and he just hasn't really done anything with it, I don't think.
New land is available for auction.
Looks like he was maybe pushing for an off-roll, but, like, it's just also, I think he's just not selling his stuff. Like, I don't know why you have 300 iron, like, yeah, you just have a lot of cash, and you didn't really do anything with it. So this is pretty unfortunate. I buy a purchase auction for this tile. Like, I want to rotate a little bit and get some of this ice water I have here. And as I, like, click, you know, bid for this tile, I get, again, circuit overloaded.
Congratulations.
This time by Hexbus, who, you know, is pretty close to making power money again. So between the overload and then me taking that auction for 28k, I'm now in D debt. But I have an off-world launching, and I was like, all right, I'll just pay some debt with that launch. You know, it
The
sucks, but
optimization
it's
center
not
is
game
online.
over, I guess.
Let the planned
And it
obsolescence
looks like I
begin.
do finally go into like a second set of solar panels to like protect myself from these like constant overloads which have been
Our
going down, and
methods
like
continue to
still,
improve.
you know, I haven't swapped out of these. I don't know, I should have just swapped and like made it production and just like, yeah, not great play. JM finally goes for something, which is an off-world, but at this point he hasn't defended himself when a player is clearly coming after him. Even though he has, you know, 230k, he's just chilling on it, I guess. So he lets Hexbus get 3 stocks into him, which I think was a big mistake. So
Optimization
Hexabus,
routine
he's rotated his
successful.
double aluminum into electronic, which is good. He has teleportation, makes a lot of sense. He then, Hexabus then nukes out this water, which is making all of this like really hard on JM. He's losing 3 water a second. I believe he does have ice. He's got ice over here. It's hard to see exactly
black
how many
market is
tiles, but
online.
he could rotate. Although, yeah, he never... Yeah, he could have just put this electronics here and had access to that ice. So... he's losing a lot on uranium. Although he does have a uranium tile, but it's depleted. So even though he's got strong power,
Did you think we would be so
yeah, it's
easy
tough
to
for him to
hoodwink?
maintain. And then JM goes for a mutiny onto my Offworld. Even though Hexapus is, you know, clearly trying to buy him and
Engineers
like
have
kill him.
advanced our production market
I don't know.
adjustments.
He just consistently came after me this game, like, and it made sense early on when I was like destroying the game, and then it stopped making sense kind of a while ago, I think. I think I regoon this. I did get my launch off, paid down some debt, finally have power online. You know, we're stabilizing. And now Classy, who I guess was threatened by my stock into her, or him, starts coming after me. So he god damn it, they buy up my stock that I had. So that cost
Our
him a lot of
methods
money,
continue
but
to improve.
and now it's pretty apparent, you know, I'm in a race with this player and James in a race with Hexbus.
The black market is open for business. Optimization routine successful.
You know, JM is not going to win this race. I know he has an off-world, but you know, you're not selling your resources when they're valuable, and like, it does make sense to stockpile at times, but then other times you need cash. So, and then you need to know what to do with your cash. I don't mean to be, I guess, like, particularly hard on this player. I think I've been equally as hard on myself. So, I guess, like I said, this is a learning experience for everybody. I go for a power surge onto Classy. You know, we're in this really tight race, actually. If you can see, I'm 75% of the way to them. They're 79% of the way to me. So I'm trying to do as much as I can to stop their cash-making potential. Xmas now has all of JM stock and still has 500k of cash, so that is not going to go well for him. I'm a little worried that I actually just get bought by Hexavis here.
The black market
Since,
is
like,
open for business.
Let's see.
Launch affirmative.
They would need
What a payout.
630 to buy me, and like I'm pretty threatening, and I do have good stock, but it makes sense for him to finish JM, especially with this off-world here. Like all of JM stuff's offline consistently. So now, yeah, Classy's 94% of the way to me, and I am. What's there a way to see?
Your stock is being sold.
So there's
How could one
Hexabus's
refuse
buy
such
into
a
JM.
wonderful plot of land?
And the race between me and Classy is still really close. Really, really close. Here comes an auction. probably should have pushed a bit more for this. It goes for, let's see how much it goes for. So I've paid down a lot of my debt. A lot of it was by swapping these like trace water tiles into power, which is fine. But then I also had these ice tiles, and I wound up, yeah. Sorry, lost my train of thought. I had a huge water stockpile, and then I remember I sold down to really push for this buy. I mean, it's 92 to 93. It's super, 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 super close. Hexpus nukes my carbon, which is good at this point. I have a lot of electronics in fuel, which I can't sustain on just a low carbon. So it's a good play. 95 to 97. I think I'm even, like, I'm not optimizing. I'm just praying that I get this launch in time for the buy. And I've actually overtaken them slightly here. 99%, 100%. I have 100, and I buy. So yeah, I finish off the buy on Classy, but at this point, Hexpus is way ahead in cash. He's like 200k. Well, I got a launch, but yeah, he's around 200k ahead of me in cash. He has had a sub online who has an Offworld, and he has a massive stock advantage. So this is pretty rough from here. And this is what I was saying, where like at a certain point, this player attacking me just didn't make any sense, and it like essentially lost both of us the game, which it did. I mean, this, you know, we know where this one's going, boys and girls. This is pretty obvious. So, you know, I got 2 extra claims, and I'm trying to like make as much money as I can, but Hexpus just starts selling out of his own stock, and he's quite close to the buy on me.
Price manipulations to begin shortly.
And this is all but over. So, yeah, like I said, this was a good game. Everyone played well. There was no, like, you know, new bro founding scavenger trying to build steel or something, right? And I think I definitely had a very strong chance of winning this game if I had played around the power a bit better. You know, either by gooning my power, placing it in a line, or then, you know, swapping out when it did get overloaded. There was a number of different things I could have done in that scenario. I don't exactly know how much debt I paid down. I don't know if there's a way to see that, actually. Is there a way to see that? I don't know that there is exactly, but I did pay down quite a bit of money in debt, thanks to that power play. And then also, like, obviously I let Hexpus make a bunch of money in power by not having my own online. They sold 300k in power, which is really good. Even though Jam was a similar level, he never really quite made, I think he made a bit of cash on it, but really a lot of it was just stabilizing his debt off of not being able to produce other life support resources. So yeah, Hexpus made a lot of money on uranium, made some strong rotations, as you know, picking up uranium when it was good. Made a lot, oh my god, so much money on iron, and quite a bit of money in glass. And I think that was just hacking, because you can see he didn't really auto sell much. You know, it was like a 500k hack. It was really quite strong. So yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed this video. Looking to do more. Hopefully next time I'll have a win for you guys. Bring it home. And cool. Cheers.